Now we are going to talk about process mapping. Okay. In defined phase also we need to list down the process map so that we should know how the process flows. So we all know what is process mapping. It is a sequence of activities which is arranged in order of their occurrences. It's a kind of a flow. It's a kind of a step-by-step instruction of a given process. So that's what the process map is all about. Now we'll talk about what are the benefits of process mapping. So this gives an overall view of how the process looks like. It also gave us that how it should be looked at against the idle process. Okay. It also helps us to identify any non-value added activity in the process. It also gives me what are the areas that I should be focusing on later. But yes, it gives me a flow. It gives me the areas where it needs to be focused on, and can also compare the actual process against the idle also. So these are some of the high level benefits of process mapping. So I recommend everybody, when you're doing projects, give a view of how the process functions, the as is flow, so that when the leader looks at your business case or your defined phase slides, he should get to understand that how the process looks like. So he should have an overview of what this process is. Okay. So there are certain things which is part of the process map which we should all know. In a given process, there are certain things that we look at, like a value added work, non-value added work, and business value. Let's understand what is value added work. Value added work is a work which is meeting the customer requirements, which we are doing it only for the customer. So let's say when we are working on any uh, product, or when we are working on any transaction, which we think from a customer perspective, which is adding value to the customer, that's a value add. Non-value added activities are the ones which are kind of manual activities, which are redundant activities, which are activities which are done again and again, which is like a lot of checks, lot of to and fro, lot of handoffs. Those are non-value added. Okay. The third type of value add is called business value add. This is not a value add for the customer, but for the business. It doesn't add any value to the customer, but to run a business, these kind of things are required. So when in the organization, when we do some kind of compliance audits, when we do certain trainings, when we mark our attendance, when we attend certain leadership speeches, when we attended any workshops, those are not non-value added, but yes, these are essential for us to be more efficient, to be more knowledgeable, to be more expertise. So those are business value added. In the process map, the objective is always try to reduce the non-value added activity. And if you see in this example, you see the half of the pie is non-value added. The value added is just 25%, or maybe less than 25%. So that's a typical example that I've shared. So in the process map, in the defined phase, when you draw, just list down what could be some of the non-value added activities. Okay, this can become your potential causes in the analyze phase or the measure phase, but just highlight that these are the non-value added activities which are there in the process.
It's more of wherein we would be, you can say, creating an as-is process as to what all we are doing currently, and identifying that what are the activities which are non-value added. Am I correct?
Absolutely. This is the as-is process only. We haven't reached to a stage
Right.
where we can propose the ideal stage right now, because we are in the define phase. We are just listing some of the constraints at the moment, highlighting it to the management that, sir, I have picked this opportunity, which has a certain impact. I've also aligned the team. According to me, these teams should participate. We have also thought of the goal statement. We have also thought of the milestones, and therefore we want to do this an opportunity. And therefore we have also prepared as-is process map, which would help us to list down that what are the different opportunities that we have in a process. So that's what we need to mention. So process map is very, very important, because sometimes what happens is when we do a project, we say that yes, we have a process, we have the standard operating procedures also, but we don't have anything visually available. I don't have anything which I can look at. So if I don't have anything which I can look at, there is more than 80% surety that the process is not following any kind of a process. So if you see as an opportunity that this process or this function doesn't have any process map, a visual process map, then we need to create it. Okay, it is very simple to create one, wherein we need to mention the step-by-step process flow, which would help you to that which of the areas can have more constraints. So if it's not there, please start preparing it. And this is one tool, process map, which can be used outside your Six Sigma project. So when you do your things, transactions or discussions, analysis, you see there is some, because I'm sure everybody's working on problems, troubleshooting without project also. But the only way to look at an opportunity is always a process map. This gives a view of how the process is all about. So moving on, we have any question?
One question. So in the process map, this will be a very high level process map that we are talking of in the define phase. Is that right?
I will get into that. I will get into the high level as well, which is
whenever you discuss in details, it just one question was that, like, if we were just looking into a high level one and the keystroke one, we will look into in some other phase. That was my question.
Okay. Keystroke
Yeah.
means when she's saying keystroke, which means a very detailed one, a kind of very detailed, covering all the scenarios that a process can have. That is not required at this point in time, because we are present. Just try and understand that we are presenting it to the head of the department or to the head of the organization. He would not have time in detail to look at it. But yes, a positive kind of a scenario, wherein all happy scenario, don't mention too many scenarios, but yes, one flow should be there which talks about end to end. Okay, it should always start with the customer. It should always start with the customer. Like, customer places a request till customer receives the product or receives end to end. No, not very detailed, but yes, one flow should be there.
Okay, thank you.
Another tool which talks about very high level process map, which is called SIPOC. That is different from process map, because in SIPOC, the other things also look at. So this is the last topic that we will do for today. Is it okay if we extend by 5-10 minutes today? Would that be okay with all of you? Because we lost some time because of me.
Yes, works.
So is it okay if we stretch till
Okay for me.
11:10? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so we'll wind up at 11:10, and then by then we'll be able to complete a SIPOC. Good. So what is SIPOC and why it should be a part of your define phase? SIPOC is one tool which helps you to identify who your customers are, who your cross-functional team members are. Okay, that is one thing. Second, it gives you an end-to-end view of a very high-level view of how your process looks like. And third, it gives you a certain indication that what could be the potential opportunity in your project or in your process. So I'll repeat. SIPOC helps you to identify your internal, external, or regulatory customers. Second, it gives a very high-level view of your process, a very helicopter view, which should not have more than 5 or 6 steps. Very high-level view. Okay. Third, SIPOC also helps me to identify certain work streams where I should be focusing on. Okay, so let's understand.